Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, April 7, 2025. So we start off with Kate, who is looking at the article of EJ's demise, and Philip comes in telling her about the somewhat good news about Alex keeping his mouth shut about what really happened with Victor's letter being forged, right? So Kate is not hearing any of this because she's reading the article, and when he finally gets her attention, she tells him that, EJ has been shot. And he said, do you know who could have done this? So he said, she's saying, whoever did it, deserves, a handshake, but maybe not a handshake because, they didn't finish the job. So he's saying, um, could you have done it? So she's like, why would you accuse me of such a thing? Like, why would you do that? So he said, it's not really far fetched. I mean, he did try to threaten you, to hurt one of your sons. And, you know how you get when you're, protecting your family. So she said, as any mother who's worried about her children, she's going to do what she has to do. But I did not murder a man, right? So he said, like, it's not the first time you've, took a gun to shot somebody. You shot Vivian. And she said it was in self-defense. And, she shot me first and buried me alive. So it was just retribution, right? So he said, you shot Chloe, Sammy, and my father a couple times. So she said again, like, that's in the past. And he said, like, you carry a weapon for protection. And she said, I mean, it's only for protection, but I did not shoot him, right? So anyways, he believes her, yeah, at her word. And to talk about Vivian a little bit, and he said we have to thank Vivian for her part in me getting up ownership of the company, so we owe it to her, right? So anyways, he said that he's going to talk to Xander about their strategy for taking over the mirror and all that, right? So he leaves. At some point, Kate is looking at the article of EJ. She's like, EJ, you got what you deserve, and she was clutching her gun. But again, it's too obvious to think that Kate would do it. I don't think Kate did it. What do you guys think? So anyways, Sarah and Xander Talking, and let me tell you, I just rolled my eye at this scene because I mean, Sarah over and over, she digs a deeper hole for herself because, Xander and her talking about the whole thing with Philip, Stephanie, and Alex, and how stressful it is. And he just hopes that they can work together because they have a big meeting to take over the mayor and all that, and they need to be on, the P's and Q's and all that. So Sarah said, I need to make a confession. Again, I already know that she was not going to tell him the full truth. So she said that she, quote unquote, knew about the affair between Stephanie and Philip. And she's sorry she didn't tell him, but she was trying to protect her friend, yada, yada, yada. Another BS lie, right? For no reason, because I don't see why she had to pause and say, Xander, there's something I need to tell you. And he's, I hate it. It's so drawn out and unnecessary because there's no reason for you to make up another lie to say that you knew about the fear a long time and all that. So she said she was trying to protect Stephanie and it wasn't her place to tell. That's why she was telling Xander to drop it when he was at the hospital for Stephanie to come clean on her own. So he understands as long as it has no impact on the both of them, it's their life and their secret and all that. So he's not upset with her. So anyways, they hug and she again has that uncomfortable look on her face. And again, I really don't care because at the end of the day, she's not woman enough to tell Xander the actual truth about his inheritance. And over and over, she keep digging a deeper grave for herself until there's no way to climb out. So Holly is at home. She's in bed and she gets a text from Tate talking about if they can really work things out and he's sorry for what he did. And while she was reading the text, Doug wakes up on the floor because that's where he's been staying. So, he's asking her what's going on. So she said, me and Tay broke up, and he's saying, how come he didn't tell me what happened? He came in the night before and didn't tell me anything. So she said she didn't want to rehash anything, and he's saying, is it my fault? So she said, not really entirely your fault. I mean, it's not even your fault, really. We did speak about you and him ratting you out, but it was just so many issues from the start. And then he got Sophia pregnant and they have having this baby, and it's like, it's just more and more issues piling up, so we just weren't meant to be, so we're just done for good this time, right? So anyways, Doug feels sorry for what happened, and he wishes that they could somehow work things out, and he's worried about Maggie finding him up here, and them being she being so close to Julie, if that's gonna really work out. So she said, don't worry about that. Even if she finds out, I will handle it, right? Don't you worry about it, right? So then she asks Doug if he feels, you can't tell me you don't feel a little bit happy that me and Taylor no more. And he said, not really. Like, I don't wish that on you both. And she said, now that you did confess your feelings to me, that you feel for me more than just a friend. So I mean, he's trying to deny, but we already know a part of him is happy, because once she left for school, he did look at a picture of Tate and Holly, and he just had this little smile on his face. At some point in the soap opera, Tate comes over to talk to Holly about the whole EJ thing, because she did also find out about EJ on her phone. And he said, do you want to go over there to support your stepfather? He said, no, now is not the time, but I'm going to reach out to Johnny and the rest of them to just see how they're doing. So, when he came over there to like check on her about that whole thing, he saw a dog putting on his underwear, and it was just awkward. So I guess we'll find out more about that tomorrow. So Tate and Sophia comes over, because Tate is just there worried about Holly, and he gets a knock at the door. Sophia comes in, and Sophia tells him that the news about EJ, and that he has been shot. And he's like, was he the only one shot? My sister lives over there. Is everybody else okay? So she said it's only him. So he's in a medically induced coma. So anyway, she said maybe it might work out for us, because now that he's out the way, maybe my mom will revisit this whole adoption situation, and it could be better for us. So Tate is saying, I'm sorry, like, is it in it a little bit sinister, much insensitive? So she said, I know it sounds insensitive, and I feel for his family and everybody else, but I just was thinking about how it could work out for us, right? So anyways, he understands what she's trying to say, and she said even for you and Holly, it would be good. So he said about Holly, she's not a factor, we're not together anymore. I mean, she found out that what I did, regarding Doug, and she broke up with me because of that and other issues. And, she said that she also ran into Doug, but she said enough about Doug, like, maybe you and Holly can work it out, she get over how she feels, and, you guys will be good. So it's like, I don't know. So maybe, I'm wondering how she feels about her stepfather, So he said that maybe you should go over there and talk to her, right? So she said if she was really interested, and she would come over here to talk to you, if she really wants to work things out. So I said, maybe, I need to really take the initiative. So I said, okay, cool. So at this point, um, I am here for them not being a thing, and it was just not meant to be. So, anyways, Stephanie and Alex. So Stephanie has a weird dream about Alex and Sarah being in bed together. So she woke up, and she tells Alex, after so much coaxing from him, about the dream. And she's like, why would you even dream something like that? See, at first he asked about if it was Philip, and she said no, like I didn't have any dream of Philip. So it was a really weird dream with you and Sarah in bed. So I'm just really fixated on the lie that she come up with, because of me and Philip being together. So he said he's not really easy about it either, and he's just on the fence of whether he needs to tell Xander the truth or leave it be, because if this really came out, the title would be turned upside down, the brothers would be fighting, and it wouldn't look good for the company. And Stephanie's worried about Xander and Sarah's marriage, and I'm saying you guys are too worried about their marriage, because if Sarah herself was worried about her marriage, should have been upfront from the beginning. So I don't want to hear about you guys invested in their marriage. Like, who cares? At the end of the day, she should have been honest with her own husband. So anyways, you know, um, they get ready for work. At some point, they're in bed, and they were doing an intimate thing. And Alex was asking her if he or Philip is better. And I said, really? So she said, I don't like to compare and everything. But over time, she did say Alex was better. And then she asked him the same question, if she's the best among all the other women he's been with. So he's like, yes, none can compare and all that. So I really didn't really tune into that much. But they get ready for their respective jobs, and she said, "Do you know what you're doing regarding the secret?" So he said, "I'm still leaning on the fence to tell Xander the truth, and let the chips fall where they may." So she said, "Remember, those chips could involve Sarah and Xander's marriage." So I said, "I understand, but I'll just deal with the blowback." So she said, "Sarah's our friend, but again, she is standing by him. It's his family. She will respect whatever he does, right?" So Ollie and Sophia have an awkward run-in. Well, she was trying to avoid it, but anyways, Sophia reached out to her, and she said, "I heard about you and Tate," and she's like, "What about us?" So she said, "I heard that you guys broke up, and he's actually over at your place looking for you to talk to you." So she's like, "Over my place?" So she's like, "Yeah." So at this point, so Holly is just worried that Tate might run into Doug, which he already did, and it was awkward. So that's for tomorrow. Stephanie goes to the hospital because earlier she told Alex that she's going to the hospital for a meeting, and she runs into Sarah, and Sarah wanted to talk to her for a minute, and she's thanking her for being cool about going along with this lie and this secret about her and Philip being a thing, quote unquote. And she said, "Don't tell me just yet, Alex might just tell Xander the truth." So that was where it ended with these two. So Philip comes over there to Xander and Sarah, and they were saying, "Oh, we were just talking about you." So it's like, huh? So Xander said, "Oh, about you and this thing with Stephanie. I mean, I hope it's over because we can't afford any mess in the business right now." So it's like, we're over for good. It's not gonna happen again. So it's like, good. So Sarah sees her way out, and Philip tells Xander about what happened with EJ, shows him the article, and he's like, "This is perfect. We can take them down now that they're at a critical, vulnerable place." So Alex comes in, and Alex sees what's going on, gets filled in on what's going on, and they tell him that EJ has been shot. So he's like, "Oh my gosh, really?" So Xander said, "We can really strike while it's hot." Kristen is one straight bag away from just being out of the game. EJ is fighting for his life. Like, this is the time for us to take down the mirror, right? So Alex said, "I wouldn't rejoice if I were you on EJ's grave yet," right? So Xander is saying, this is the time to really go forward and do what we have to do. So that was really it, where the episode ended. Again, I did not care for the whole Zara and Sander scene. Well, Xander Sarah scene. I'm saying their couple named Zara. But anyways, yeah, I did not care for that at all. But just waiting for the secret to be unleashed, and Xander and Sarah to duke it out. But yeah, that was it, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. I will see you guys tomorrow.